Welcome to Two Gents, where two seasoned gents take on the hard truths of life, success, and responsibility. In a world where the rules don't bend for us, these gents believe in doing the work, owning the struggle, and inspiring others to take action. So, pull up a chair.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to Two Gents Podcast. I feel like this is mine. I feel like I got another job today. Because I made a mistake earlier and I had to correct it. I spoke with my co-host. He's on his way to getting set up and coming into the show live. And I just got to tell you that, you know, it's not easy. It's not easy being out here in this world. And we're doing this thing called a surprise glass. I said, we're going to do this thing like we used to do. We're going to do the smoking glass hour again. We're going to take it back. Because we did this thing about 10 years ago. Of course, you wasn't able to see our face, but what we were able to do was go on Blog Talk Radio and kind of put the word out, and everybody got a chance to call in. We're trying to get that set back up, and we're trying to get people used to it, because toward the end of the shows, we're going to give everybody a voice, and I'll put up a number, and we'll see if you want to call in and comment. It's just one, you know, this is a day of many things going on and things changing so fast. And my show earlier was geared around, you can't let people, and this show, that you can't let people have their narrative and continue their spin because they don't want to own up to where they're at. And see, that's one of the things that I want to be able to do, is open up your eyes. It's not that everything that I hear out there that I want to come on and start talking or do anything like that. It's just that every time there's so much going on that we have to address what's going on now. We have to get out there and talk to people, and that's what me and Glass try to do. We try to inform and let people form their own opinion. And I got Mr. Byron Glass on right now. I'm looking at him getting ready, and he's in the background. So whenever you get ready, Byron, I'm here.
Good afternoon, Mr. Spikes. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. It reminds me, I kind of surprised you. I came up with the smoking glass hour this time. I said, I'm going to shock him, because I'm going to have to take him back a little bit.
Yeah, man. I noticed that. Just left a meeting, Ron. I'm sorry for my tardiness, but nevertheless, you know, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. So, you know, Ron, we sat and we talked, and, you know, we came to terms with, or we're coming to terms with, you know, the politics or whatever. So
yes,
I was sitting here thinking, school is out. We know that for 3 months that some kids never ever get what they should get during the summertime. So I just kind of I wish Pastor Rickens could come on, is talk about, you know, how much a kid lose in the 3 months during the summer if you don't keep them actively engaged in education, mathematics, the English skills. You know, we kind of put in the context, will they just, you know, lay around? You know, will they just, you know, sleep or be on the iPad, the iPhone? Ron, you know, the more and more I think about it, I feel that, you know, we are losing in almost every area in life with regards to the majority. Now, there may be somebody say, well, no, we're not. Well, I'm not talking about everybody. I'm talking about too many of us are not doing the things that we need to do. Again, what are we doing right now? I just left a meeting with kids trying to facilitate, you know, a ballpark so they can have some activities with this going on, that going on. You know, Ron, I'm always involved, and I don't expect everybody else to be involved. But what I do expect is that even if you don't want to get involved, you should be doing something to allow your kids to be involved in something positive. Sitting at home and with reading the iPad, being non-constructive, because you can be sitting at home reading your iPad, looking at your iPhone, getting something done, discovering different things. But for the most part, Ron, we know who we're talking to. We know what we're talking about. So if the shoe fit, wear it. If it don't, keep it moving. At the end of the day, like you said, only thing we do is try to enlighten and inform. and let parents know that if there's something that you can do to keep your child actively involved this summer, because the brain needs this exercise. If you don't give it to them, Ron, we lose out.
Yeah, we kind of throw ourselves out, and that's one of the things that I hope that we continue to do. Because even my experience, I mean, our experiences, even in the summertime when we were growing up, we should have reinforced some of that stuff that we should have been able to get involved in some of that stuff. And maybe when we started the school year, for me, maybe for Byron Glass, people like Byron Glass, you know, they got ready to. They was ready to start school like 3 weeks ahead of time.
Yeah, man.
They had their books, went down and got their books and was reading their books ahead of time. But now you're right, with so much distraction going on right now in the world. If you're gonna teach it, if you're gonna have those kids on games and all of that, have them on, put them on a learning source or something.
Right.
Because like Byron said, you know, you trying to ask. I don't know if we're asking too much of them, because we're asking them to focus. When they got so many avenues that's out there that they could go into, we got so many people that they can fall behind and go down the wrong road. So when Byron says something like, you know, I just left a meeting, maybe most of y'all didn't realize today is Sunday, and it's about 6 o'clock where I'm at. So if it's Sunday and it's 6 o'clock and he just left a meeting, that means that he was there maybe 2 or 3 hours ahead of time, and he was investing some time into your kids. And we got to learn how to do that. I have a show that's coming. I have a show that I want to do, and I've been putting it off because there's so much going on in the world today. But I think that one of the things that we need to start educating our kids on is how to vote earlier, how to get involved in the process of what's going on. And don't let them fall so far off that when they, as Byron say, don't let them fall so far off that they can't catch up. And I think even normal people have a hard time, because if you leave, just think about it. Sometimes when you're on these jobs and they send you on these different places to go for schools and all the rest of it. It takes you, even though you only been gone like a week or maybe 2 weeks or something like that, it takes you a while to get ramped back up to the work that you normally did every day. And I think that's the same thing that Byron is trying to share with us. We need to keep them in the practice of being in school.
Yeah, Ron, counterparts, they go on vacation to, Colorado and other places, not knocking that by no stretch. So what I'm saying is that even though you may not be able to do that, we still got to do something to stay in the game. You don't even have to go to Colorado now. You can pull it up on Google Maps, and it's like you're there. So what I'm saying is that if we want to remain competitive, we have to give our kids a chance, Ron, because it's so much information that you can find on social media. You can research. You can become an overnight success. And all I'm basically saying is that if you find your kid just laying around the house, not too energetic, I'm just asking and saying, consider these other options, which would be enroll them in a program if you're financially able, or let them go to the library, or let them police them for about an hour and put them on something that's education. Because Ron, you can rest assured that what you knew when you got out of school, when you come back to school, it's a whole universe is out there that you've missed out on. So all I'm saying is let's be competitive. Let's use the gift that the good Lord has given us, and let's do what we need to do. At the end of the day, Ron, we are parents, grandparents, or whatever you want to call yourself, guardian, caretaker. There's a responsibility that we have, and we have to utilize that responsibility by doing everything that's necessary to help a kid, elevate themselves. Because you can be left behind in a month's time now.
Absolutely. And I think that one of the things that I saw, and Glass, I'm going to share this with you because it's going to all tie back to what you're saying right now about being disciplined and doing stuff over and over and trying to get to a point where parents need to understand what the only way that they can reach their kids. Because I heard a general on one of the other shows, he was talking, he said, and I never thought about this, and I went through the whole military and I never thought about this, but what the general said was so simple. He said, you know what? He said a lot of people go in these jobs in the military and they go through basic training, and people wonder how come we put emphasis on just making up a bed. He said that's probably the most important thing that we do as a whole. He said what it teaches you is that before you go anywhere, it's a discipline that you have to put down, that you're gonna make your bed. Before we can get you involved in anything else, if you can't make your bed, we know that you don't have an understanding of anything else. So if those simple things that we put on your mind, you need to reinforce them. And that's the same thing that Byron's saying. That's the reason why I'm tying this back. There's certain things that we send our kids to do, and if they got grown men doing the same repetitious thing because they're trying to get to an objective, that's what Byron's asking you to enforce into your kids, is give them a task and give them something that they can bite into, or something that they like. If you and like Byron said, I know that here they have half books where you can go down there, even if you can't afford it. They even have the library most towns have a library that you can go check books out.
Mm-hmm.
It's a way to get involved in keeping them active. And I know our daily lives, and I don't want to excuse this, Byron, because we take it for granted that people don't have anything else to do. We take it for granted when parents come home after work and stuff like that, they're not tired. But sometimes you have to invest that into your kids.
Mm-hmm. And Ron, I think, again, offering sound, advice is what we're supposed to do. Whether, it's through a podcast, through the church, through the grocery store. Again, I think what we're trying to solidify is the fact that, kids have a better chance than what we had. We didn't have, the internet where you could go out and just, find everything in a twinkling of a thumb. We had to do the research. We had to do the cursive writing. We had to do the math solving problems. And in the summertime, when you got out of school, that first weekend, you may have had a break. But if you was living in one of those homes where mama made you get up no matter what, that routine that you're talking about, Ron, whether it was, whether you had something to do or not, at 8 o'clock, you had to be up, ready and dressed, even if you were just sitting in the house. But you couldn't just sit in the house. You had to go rake some leaves. You had to go and find a yard to mow. You had to be doing something constructive that would keep you from having an idle mind and going and worship, all that other stuff. Now, Ron, I'm not saying that, in our age group, that, everything was perfect. I'm not saying that there was no mistakes. I'm not saying that people didn't do mischievous things. Yes, they did all of that. But at some point, you had somebody in the community, in the neighborhood, that was pulling you on the back of their shirt saying, oh, no, you Lorenzo's son. No, you're not about to be doing that. Or you such and such's son. You're not about to be doing that. And what I'm saying now, Ron, it seems like for the most part that son and daughter has an older sister rather than a mother.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Everybody wants to be friends. There's nothing wrong with being friends with your child. But you need to have that separation there, because when you ask them to do something, they might not see you as a parent. And I see, and Glass, I'm gonna go here because we don't miss nothing. Right. But I see people out there, and they taking they don't all look like, they're not all the same color as we are, but they taking them games away from their kids, and their kids are almost losing their doggone mind. Mm-hmm. And they go out there, and if you at the extreme where you have to take something that you bought your kid and run over it with a car or throw it on the ground and smash it just to get their understanding, you failed your kid. You are the you left him on that game. You left him playing that game. You're just as much responsible for that, where that kid is right now. And some of these things are not nice, because these kids are, when you take that game, it's like you're taking their life, and they don't care what's around. They coming at you. So it all goes back to that, making it a simple task.
Well,
Make
Ron,
that bed.
we not mean to cut you out. We implemented a policy where the kids can no longer have their phone. The very moment they get to school, we have some little clutch bags or whatever, what you put your phone in. And since we implemented that policy, even the students have come to terms and agreed that it was in the best interest to do that. They're less. There's a whole lot of less anxiety. There's a whole lot of it's less fights or disturbances or this group versus that group at school. And these are statistical data. I mean, this is statistical data that we've been able to hurdle in. So we know that implement a new policy, minimizing the use of the phone and all that other stuff. We know that it works. We had enough courage to make it work. We had enough courage to pass the policy. We had enough courage to explain to the parent and the kids, hey, look, our number one goal as a policymaker is put a policy in place that we feel is in the best interest of your child. Mm-hmm. Not based on emotions, Ron, but based on facts. So after we were able to explain that to parents and get them over that hurdle, parents bought into it. They are satisfied, the majority. So I think relative to us talking about, parents right now, Ron, I think if you see something that need to be done, rather than wait for somebody to do it, just get it done. Just do it yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you have to take that mindset, because that's what we grew up with. You just expressed it not too long ago. If you see something, say something. If you see a child out there going the wrong way, you may have opened your mouth and saved that child from going down the path that he was going down. He needs to know that it takes a community. Now, I'm gonna say this. I don't want to get too far off, but it takes a whole community to raise a child these days, because you may have just closed your door and put them out there on the street, and many of our parents did the same thing. Told us, go out there and have fun. You went out there and you drunk out of the water hydrant, did whatever you had to do, and then when it came time, you came back in. But if you putting them out there, I guarantee it's an element out there that's with them that may not allow him to come back home.
And Ron, but some people are putting them out there and leaving them out there.
Yeah, because they didn't establish anything early. Instead of, you said it earlier, instead of being a friend, going different places with them, seeing them do them little weird things, or I'm gonna say it like this, maybe people can relate to it, Byron. When they see him out there putting the boots on the ground, popping fans, shaking you know what? They think that stuff is cute till it comes back and bite them in their own, you know what? But you could have prevented that. You could, you have to invest. And what you invest in is what you get out. And I'm not saying that, and don't ever get this correct. Don't ever get this wrong. I'm gonna say it. Don't think that I'm an expert. I didn't have no book that I went to. Nobody gave me a book. I don't know. I didn't know how to raise a child. And still today, I got grown kids, and I'm still scratching my head on some of the things that's out there. But you try to do the best that you can, Glass.
Well, Ron, yeah, but you got to put forth some effort. And I think parenting was meant to be the way that it is. It comes with no instruction, but, God has given each one of us the ability to do the necessary things, but you have to have something that you follow, some type of guideline. Again, Ron, I would never come to your house and tell you what you should or shouldn't do with your kid. And that's not what we're talking about here now. What we're saying is, once again, is that 12 months out of a year, you should be challenging your kid to overcome something. And since they are out for the summer, for 30, 60, 90 days, how many days it is, they should be challenged on a frequent basis. Because, Ron, math is a stepping stone. What you learn on Monday, you got to be able to apply it on Tuesday. And when Wednesday get it, you got to be able to apply Monday and Tuesday. So since they're going to be out of school, they're going to be at home doing whatever it is that they're going to be doing. What I'm saying is at least out of those 7 days, I'm asking that you challenge your child to do something constructive, and you verify that they are doing it. Because Ron, the race that you and I ran back in the Gap is a totally different race nowadays. If you can start out at zero and be a millionaire overnight.
Mm-hmm.
When we started out, we had to go from home base to first base, second base, struggle on first and second, get to third, and then when you get to third, you're thinking everything is safe, and that's when the bottom fall out multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
And we still may not be at home plate, but we're further than where we're at. What I'm saying is now they can go from 0 to 100 in a twinkling of an eye, because social media and the internet will allow you to do that. But you got to utilize that tool to benefit you.
And I agree with you, Glass, because it's kids out there that have done amazing things with the internet. They basically outpace their parents, and that's not the exception to the rule. That's some things that happens. Mm-hmm. Even their kids. I know this little guy, and I'm gonna share this. This little guy went out, and his parents couldn't even speak English, but they was putting him out there on the videos. They made YouTube videos of him, and they put that out to the masses, and it just made me think. When I finally realized the net worth of how much those people was, how much they made doing that, it made me, man, where my grandkids at? Wait, baby, you're gonna have to go back down a little bit so we can start early and get you out there. And I'm not saying that happens all the time, but what we're saying is that if you invest that little bit of time, that child's gonna see that, and he's gonna see that you care about him. He's gonna see that you're trying to grow. So when he gets older and he can do those kind of things, he's gonna invest into that. But I got to go back here, guys. If they're going out there and the only thing that they see you doing is coming home, taking off your clothes, going somewhere else other than saying hi and bye, or let me cook their food, and you disappear and go away, there's a problem. Because that child gonna grow up and do the same thing that you're doing. Mm-hmm. That child gonna grow up. If you're leaving the house and they know where you're going, they're gonna do the same thing. They're gonna repeat that behavior until they learn different. And I'm not criticizing, as Glass said. I'm not critiquing. I'm not telling you what to do as a parent. But I want to say something else. But Glass, I'm gonna give it back to you.
Well, Ron, I think you remember we don't mince words. We try to inform and enlighten. And I think you can preface what you're trying to say, that you're not trying to inflict any harm on anybody. But I mean the truth. That's just what we do. So I'm gonna allow you to express it. If not, then we'll kind of move on.
Well, let me just go ahead and say it, Glass. I'm glad you gave me permission. I needed that permission because that child didn't ask to be born.
Right.
That child didn't ask to be born. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna tell you, like I tell my own kids, when you in there moaning and groaning and all the rest of that, that child didn't ask to be born. You made the decision. Your actions made the decision that child was here. Mm-hmm. Help that child go somewhere.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's all we're asking, Ron. And I think you qualified it better. You said investment, and that's what we're doing today. Asking you to deposit a little investment, in your child this summer. Ron, I got one of my buddies. I think he's out there listening, and I listened to him one day telling me about how he was talking to his little son about this, that, and the other. At school, you always got to be better than your counterpart, or you always got to do it better. Ron, every day that we spend on boots on the ground is every day that we fall further and further behind. And again, nobody's critiquing, nobody's criticizing, none of that. Because at the end of the day, Ron, back in our days, I'm quite sure it was something that we did, maybe not on the extreme, but at the end of the day, we wasn't as good as we are now. I'll put it that way. So we can talk about ourselves and not get mad or get offended or get emotional. So the finger's pointed at everybody. All we're saying again is that invest something in your kid this summer by way of letting them read a book, let them go to the library, let them do some type of research, discover, because every moment, a minute, a second that you don't use the brain during the summertime, the harder it is when you start back. So all we're doing is saying keep the oil in the motor and keep it running. Also, Ron, I was going to say earlier, my buddy, I'm almost certain if he'll text me when he was over in China, what did the Chinese kids do when they were out of school? Ron, you may know because you was in the military. I'm almost certain, Ron, that they wasn't sleeping till 12, 1 o'clock in the day. They were being occupied for the most part. Now, I don't know this. I'm assuming this. So if there's anybody out there that can correct me, that's fine. And I really want to say it so we can create a conversation. What we see is totally different than what we think going on across town. Now, and I can tell you from my neck of the woods, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, walking the street. At 11, 12, 1, and 2 during the daytime, you don't see them nowhere out there. Because you know why? 9 times out of 10, they sleep. And mama let them sleep. Ron, anytime you got women doing more for men than the man or the men doing for themselves, you got a problem.
Absolutely. We got a definite problem. I'm going to go back and jump on that thing that you was talking about earlier about outside of the country. Watch the video. I sit there and I looked at I think it was Japanese kids. They go to school all year long. They don't go home. They go home at about 7 or 8 o'clock at night. But they take their naps. They have them take naps, all of them. They chairs, lean back and relax and all of that. And they invested into those kids because they know the kids are our future. They know that the kids are their future. So if they don't invest that technology, if they can't invest it into their kids now, it ain't nothing. I don't think we break it down. Well, I think we're guilty of not breaking down life to our kids, and that's the reason why they don't grab hold and hold on tight.
I just said that at the meeting, Ron. That
you have to tell your kid that school, from the time you're in school all the way through, it makes your life easier when you get older. If you can't read, write, do anything, you're not going to advance. You're going to look at your counterparts excel past you. And I'm not even doing this 50s and 60s class. We know they didn't have the best of items to work with, but if you can get the basics, you can get the rest of it. But if we don't allow our kids to get the basics, how can we? What more can we expect from them? Because society is set up for them to fail already. Society has places for them to go where they become productive citizens for the system. And we didn't hit on this earlier. They become productive prison inmates.
Yeah.
And then when they come home, they can't do anything, and then you wonder, then they laying up on you because you didn't invest in them.
Hey, Ron, it's really just this simple. You can go to jail in January. When you get out in December, the world is different now. You know, we're back in the gap. If we went to jail, which we neither one of us did, thankfully, we went to jail in January. When you got out in December, well, that dial-up phone was still on the wall. That counter phone was still there. The phone was still here where you had to hold. It wasn't no hell, there wasn't even no cordless phones. When we started out, we couldn't imagine. Man, who could imagine, Ron, that you could pick up your cell phone and talk and dial anywhere in this world? And we could never think that way.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's happening every day. I was reading somewhere. What's the day? Sunday, must have been early part of the week, Monday, Tuesday, that Musk, the guy from the iPhones and some of the others, they was talking about iPhones may even become obsolete because they got these glasses. They got all this other stuff that can. And I'm sitting there saying, Elon Musk was talking about the chips and stuff. I'm sitting there saying, man, are you serious?
Yeah, they're at a point with technology where you don't even have to. You're not tied down to anything, and if you advance to it, like you say, glasses, they're trying to utilize those glasses where you take pictures, you can go out there and it learns everything that you're doing from the glasses. It can't physically do it, but just think about it. It's a big picture out there. If they learn, if everybody wearing those glasses and they learning what you're doing, they're gonna eventually figure out how to do it for themselves, because the only thing that they lacking is the physical part. But here's what we want to tell our kids. Doesn't matter how much technology out there, it's gonna always be something for you to do. And if we don't instill that in them, we might as well just throw up our hands and be like everybody else.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people out there sitting around and their parents didn't give them anything, but some of them, and I don't want to, because we always harp on the ones that didn't, but we need to harp on the ones that did. Some people took what little that they had and turned it into something. And I don't want to take nothing away from them, because I hear them all the time talking about what they did. And then some people, the light goes off a little bit later in life. It may not go off as a young person, but when that light goes off, you have to have something to get it from. You have to have a basis to draw from.
Oh yeah, and certainly, Ron, I think we probably, and we do a good job, but we always qualify, our points, throughout the, the broadcast podcast. In no way are we criticizing anybody. In no way are we trying to tell somebody this, that, and other. What we're doing is asking and offering some tools that we have grown to see that might make life a little less miserable than not doing it. Again, like Ron, you said earlier, those kids didn't ask to come into this world. So the least that you can do is fulfill the obligation that you have, which is give them the tools that they need, number one. Okay, help them to be able to learn how to use those tools and how those tools can benefit him or her. It's kind of like the internet, Ron. They just stuck it out there. They didn't tell you how to properly use it. Now you see all of this other stuff. I was looking at CBS Morning News Friday morning, where they was talking about I think it was a deep fake where AI can create images of teachers and all this and other. Students can do this. And so I text my superintendent. I said, you remember I was talking to you about this time last year? She said, yep. I said, I told you that you can say something today, Ron, and as soon as 6 months to a year, if not sooner, what you said can come to fruition. We gotta put our kids on the right path. And anything less than putting them on the right path, Ron, I think you and I, as parents, or anybody else as parents, you kind of go toward a pathway of failure.
Let's take that one step further. This technology that's out there, they can record your voice. They can record your image. And they could harass your kid. Bullying ain't got nothing on what they can do with technology, because they can record something that your kid did and put them in a compromising situation and come back, and that kid's in school, and because they can't defend it, you know, you have to, you as a parent, you as an everyday parent, let me just say how dangerous this is.
Mm-hmm.
As an everyday parent, you don't have you barely going to work. So you know you're not going to have the ability to go out where a kid and destroyed your kid's reputation by putting out some erroneous stuff on them. And it looks just like them. And we have to understand that technology, and we have to be able to go in and as Byron said, we have to be able to go in and talk to those teachers. Don't go in there and say, don't go in there and the first thing that you do is defend your child. Because when you do that, you basically just have given up because you don't want the responsibility, but you go in there and you defend your child before you even heard the story.
Mm-hmm.
You listen to one side of the story. And I'm going to say this. If your child tells you that he didn't do it, before you go in there and go off on that other adult person that's in the room, find out what their side of the story. It's going to take all that you got probably to hold your breath and go in there. Find out what they got, because I'm going to tell you the other side of that story. That person is there for 8 hours a day where you just about gave up on your child.
Mm-hmm.
That person is there for a longer period of time in that child's life right now where you just about gave up. So you need to take, I ain't saying use it as a daycare, but at least give them the benefit of the doubt before you go in there. And then Glass, I'm going to say one last thing, and I'm going to let you comment on what I just got through saying. You need to reflect on you when you was a child, because some of that child's behavior is hereditary.
Mm-hmm.
You see how you act in public. You see how you go about doing your business, and guess what? They do the same thing when they get away from you.
Yeah, well, Ron, I think first and foremost, we all, if we hadn't, we should have learned that we should never say what our kids will or won't do.
I agree.
Number one. So number two, like you said, and you said it very well, before you form any analysis, you have to be open-minded, because you may be going somewhere to find out that your kid is doing something that you never thought they was even remotely capable of doing. So you got to go in expecting two sides, not just your side. And if you go in already with your fists up ready to punch, then Ron, I think at some point during that conversation, you end up losing perspective, and the kid don't get the very best, because if you're going in saying that Jimmy or Johnny is right when Jimmy and Johnny is wrong, and Jimmy and Johnny is seeing that you are supporting his or her his wrong, then you've already created a monster there, because they know now pretty much that I can do this and mom and dad are going to take up for me. Well, you got to go in, you got to know your kid, number one. You got to know if he is capable of doing something. And like you said, Ron, well, how do you know if he's capable? Well, I can reflect back on what I did. That may be a roadmap. I'm not saying that it's a qualifier, but it may give you some assessment to say, well, maybe what I'm being told is not necessarily a lie. You got to come to your own conclusion. But what you can't do, Ron, is continue to stay at home, continue to not get involved in parent-teacher conference, continue to let your kid sit out at home on the weekday doing summer school, the weekend doing regular school, and not challenge them to continue to move forward. Because you can rest assured the people that you complain about the most, they are allowing their kid or kids to go to Colorado, go to the Rocky Mountains, go to the Alamo Dome. They're taking all these trips, Ron. They've been exposed, is what I'm saying. While Jim and Johnny, only thing they're exposed to is 9 or 10 o'clock on Friday, Saturday nights, boots on the ground. They see that every weekend.
And that boots on the ground, we use boots on the ground. Now, don't get us wrong. It's a nice song. I still rock to it. I listen to it. But we're using that as an example of how it can take away from your kids' direction, and how it can misguide your kids, and how we're go ahead. Go ahead, Glenn.
No, Mr. Spikes, got a text message from a listener. Let me put these little dollar store glasses on. That says, that's a tough situation to balance. Being a black man living in a predominantly white area with the current political environment and social environment, I tend to go in with my child's best interest at heart, because I don't believe that outsiders outside of myself necessarily have their best interest at heart. That's true. So that is a very tough line to walk when you know that the world is out to get people who look like you. And no debate. I think that's a very fair assessment. I think it's one of many assessments, but I think it's very probable, Mr. Spikes. It does happen. It has happened, and I'm almost certain it'll continue to happen. What say you?
This is what I say. Maybe we should have kind of explained that. Some, not all. Mm-hmm. Some, not all. We may not have been talking to you because maybe you have invested that time into your kid, mm-hmm. and you have a general idea. But some, not all, and part of the all don't invest that time into their kids. Mm-hmm. And we're not responsible for telling you what to do. We're just throwing suggestions out there. And I appreciate that you know your kid that well, because I don't know your kid that well. Neither one. Byron probably doesn't know your kid that well either. And I'll never tell you that you don't know what your kid's not doing, but I will clarify, say some, not all, because it is other people on the other side of the coin. And I never want to get in on one side or the other. I want to allow you to be who you are and take your word as a parent that you know your child.
Oh yeah, it's certainly open, for discussion, and that's what it is. Again, from where I sit and what I've seen over the last 32 years, there's more. Now, this is my experience. There's more who have come to me that was not doing versus those who were doing. Ron, I've had parents that come and say, I don't know how to go and talk to them people. And I'm like, well, what do you mean, them people? Ron, you said it earlier. The kid didn't ask to come here. So whether you know how to go or not, it's your job to find a way. Because parenting didn't come with instruction for you, Ron. Didn't come for me. We had to fit, and we still are figuring this stuff out. My daughter called Thursday. Dad at 9 or 10 hours away from me. Hey, I don't know. And I don't have a problem saying I don't know, because I wasn't equipped to but what I ain't gonna do, what I am not gonna do is not do anything. I got to try to find a solution to the problem, right? Mm-hmm. And some people know because they get letters sent home. Even if the letter's sent home, you don't know if it's true or false. You got to go in order to find out. If you don't go, then the message that you have sent to the system is that, hey, look, either I don't care, I'm okay with you doing whatever it is you're going to do.
But then see, Glass, the other part of that is that they'll run to you when they got in trouble. And they figure that you're in the school system, so now they expect you to solve their whole life problems of whatever their child was doing. And you didn't even invest any time into your child, but now you going to somebody because you saw their name on the ballot, or you saw their name, that somebody told you within the community that they have access to certain people, and maybe they can help you out, but you didn't invest in anything. If that person, if Byron just say, I hear you, but then he go back to the school and kind of follow your track record, he probably say, hey, it ain't nothing I can do. But he don't throw his hands up. He gonna help that child because that's what that child needs. And if you see somebody helping them, you need to step up and do your part too. you need to step up and do your part too, and don't just go out there when they get in trouble because you need that daycare or that babysitter that you just gonna get them out of this one and let them linger out there. That's not what we're trying to preach either. Not
And,
preach, but share.
yeah, Ron, and that's
Lack of
man,
better
hey, look,
term.
if we can't share, ideas, maybe constructive criticism or just, advice. We're looking for the same advice, so it's 100% non-critical, here. All we're saying is, your kid is going to be out of school, and we're just saying, asking that you try to challenge your kid to keep them in the game of life. Ron, you said it earlier. If you fall behind or you don't learn, all you do is surrender to your counterpart. So you can't complain and say, well, Mr. Jody or Mr. Johnny son got this and I didn't get the opportunity. Well, nowadays, you can fact check. Hey, what was he doing during the summertime? Look at his resume. Look at the things that he participated in during the summer. I'm almost certain, Ron, if you check the internet, there's a lot of things that are offered during the summertime, different curriculums that probably don't cost nothing, that can still challenge a child, that will allow them to stay in the game. I'm almost
Absolutely.
certain. Yeah.
And here's the other thing, Glass. If you so indulge, you can go out there and YouTube, and it's parents out there on YouTube while your child is on YouTube. You can sit right there with them and go through what the other parents have. They putting it out there.
Right.
It's just that easy to get access to it. Because if he's sitting there going around seeing what, I can't think of that number one guy on YouTube is doing, blowing up cars and buses and all the rest of that, and got your child entertained. But even if you're tired and you didn't went to work, you can sit down, take off your shoes, sit there and say, hey, I want to go over this with you. Look at what they're doing. Get them, intrigue them a little bit by showing that you have an interest. And that's all we're doing is trying to put information out there. And we talked about technology, and I want to tell you, there's some positives to the technology, but you need to implement it with your child and go through it with them. If you come in there and the only thing you hear is bang, 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 boom, 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 maybe you need to sit down and see what that child is watching, because they some of that stuff, and I'll say this, Grand Theft Auto ain't no joke, because they're teaching your kids how to jack people up, run here and run there and do this. And if that's what your mind and your focus is for, that's what you're gonna do.
Hey, Ron, see, I know we're doing good, because here's something that makes everything that you and I are talking about 100% easier from a listener. And if you really don't know what to do, use Chat GPT. Ask him, what can my child do over the summer to be ready for next year? And you can put in very specific details, and it will give you a list of all that is helpful, that can help you that way. So, Ron, I know what we're offering from the depths of our heart is coming from the right place, because here's validation that agrees with our principle or our premise. Do something with your child this summer. That's all we're asking. That's all we can ask. Ron, again, when you and I grew up, we didn't have access, and we probably couldn't have afforded the internet, back in the gap. I speak for, we got the needs, not most of the wants, So if internet wasn't a need, then more than likely we probably were going to get it. But if we had to have it for school, mom was going to make a way. Now, how she did it, I don't know. So what I'm saying is, Ron, even on government phones, to my understanding, you can get on Chat GPT. To my understanding, you can log on the internet. To my understanding, you can put in Google Maps and look all over the world and see what you want to see. Broaden your horizon. broaden your scope. So when you broaden your scope, Ron, that makes you hungry to say, you know what? Man, I never thought I was going to Africa, Ron, until I went.
Mm-hmm.
It's in my mind now to go and see the Serengeti. Okay, I don't know how I'm going, but it's in my mind, to get there.
Mm-hmm.
At least if somebody talk about it, I know about it. What I'm saying is we got to get our kids in the game, Ron. We got to expose them to some stuff that they typically don't get. They typically don't, give whatever. The caller say he think we froze, but Ron, I don't see us froze nowhere.
Yeah, I think that, and here's the other part that I'm gonna add to that, Glass, is that just like you just say, there's some people that their parents, some places that their parents want to go. And if you just sit down there and share that with that kid, you sit down there and you sit at that computer and you tell them, say, I want to go to Paris. Can you show me? And sometimes you might have to dumb it down if you don't know how to use a computer. Not if you don't know how to use a computer, but if you're not exposed to a computer, say, can you show me what Paris, the things that's going on in Paris? Can you tell me how they say hello in French? Can that little bit of stuff that you're doing, even in Germany or something that someplace that you want to go, that little bit of stuff is helping your kid understand that it's an opportunity for me to get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
It's an opportunity for me to indulge in stuff. My mother is sharing this with me. She says she never got the opportunity to do it, but she had bigger goals in life. And those little bitty things is they set a child up for success. And I think that we need to continue to do it. You're right, Glass. You don't have to go to Disney. You don't have to do all of that. And you can tell them, you can explain to them, I can't do it. I'm working.
Mm-hmm.
And if you explain it to a child in simple terms, even though we didn't have all that, we knew that we just didn't have the funds to come in to get on the airplane and take 6 people to Disneyland.
Mm-hmm.
But you can give them an ambition or a goal that if they sit there and they do their work and they punch their ticket, so to speak, they can be whatever they want to. I don't see parents out there encouraging their kids to be whatever they want to. Most of the parents are doing other things. They setting bad examples for their kids to follow, and then they wonder how come their kids are going down that road. Some, not all.
Yeah, and I knew you was gonna come back and say it because again, all we're doing is talking factual. And when we say some, we may be talking about the people that we know. We're not saying all. Ron, again, just to qualify what we're saying, when we were younger, hey, we didn't do everything. You say that it's interesting. Ron, we're not froze now, are we?
No, we're still here.
Yeah, that's a list out there. But again, I hope, Ron, what's being done is it's accepted, from the goodness of the heart, because nobody is saying this, that, and other. I guess we're coming up about 2 minutes left in the broadcast, man.
Mm-hmm.
I have enjoyed the conversation. I hope that we have put out a challenge, and the challenge would be accepted by just one person. And that's a way to spend a little time, with your kid, Ron. I used to do it. We would, go places. My oldest one, and I didn't get a chance to do it with my youngest one, and I wished I did. But I mean, I can't change some things. But at the end of the day, the desire is always there. I wished, we could spend a little bit more time and maybe send some kids somewhere, and hopefully at some point that'll happen. So I'll yield to you.
Yeah, I think that one of the things that you have to take advantage of whatever you got in front of you, and I will never tell you what not to do as an adult, what you was taken away from. But if you see a child, and I'm only using this as a guideline, if you see a child out there looking on a trail ride at a horse, or maybe a trailer that somebody else has, or maybe a truck or something like that, if that person's willing, why don't you take that child up there and have him ask, how did you get what you got, sir?
Mm-hmm.
I want to be like, I want to try to be like you when you grow up. And that person, if they worked hard for what they got, they don't mind explaining that to their child. It's that's a lesson too, because he knows that if he go back and he applies what he learned out there, even though he was out with you, and he apply that, he can do it too. And I think we need to have that. He can do it. You can do it too, but you need to expose him to people that's doing stuff. That's within his environment. And Glass, I'm gonna let you close it out because this is part of the Smoking Glass Hour, and I want you to close it out like you used to.
Hey, look,
I'm gonna sit back and relax. I already did a show. I'll tell you about it later.
Hey, Ron, this is show my dedication. My church is having revival tomorrow. It's been supposed to rain all day today. I had a meeting at 4:00 and I had to rush here. I'm dedicated to this. Now I'm gonna try to leave here right now and go about 6 miles or whatever, and try to get my churchyard mowed before dark. But I could have skipped this and went straight to that. But see, at some point, you got to invest in something, even when you don't get a nickel or a dime. But you get the reward by seeing somebody say, look, I heard this and I appreciate it. Or you get a text that say, that's agreeing with what we're saying. So at the end of the day, when the smoke is cleared and the dust settled, we've always said, Ron, from day one, mainstream media's number one goal is to distort the message and divide the people. Our message has always been to enlighten and inform. I hope that there's been something that we have said today that would enlighten you to spend just a little bit more time with your child. Challenge them at least one time this summer to do something. And I can guarantee you, it'll pay off. Run. You've been listening to Two Gents tonight on Sunday nights, man. There's an old version of you know what. So we're going to say love, peace, and soul. We out.
No, I'm gonna say one more thing. You've been listening to the Smoking Glass Hour with Byron Glass. He's flipped the hourglass over, and he's telling us that we ran out of time, so we're gonna get out of here.
Love, peace, and soul.
Got you, my brother. Out.